All right, so mass wasting is obviously bad for human health and for human structures and human society, right? We don't want to get stuck in a landslide ourselves, but we also don't want our roads to get stuck in a landslide. We don't want soil creep to, put cracks in our roads or to cause our trees to fall over, right? So how can we mitigate the risk of mass wasting? Well, first we have to identify areas that are at high risk, right? So we need to keep in mind what causes mass wasting. Well, high angles of slope, lots of water, lots of loading, right? Lots of weight on the top of a slope. All of those things cause high risk for mass wasting. So if I'm building a house, I probably don't want to build a house where all of those factors occur. We can also look around and find evidence of mass wasting, right? So if you're walking along your property and you find it looks like there's some dead trees at the top of your property and some cracks or in the wall of the foundation of your house, or maybe some telephone lines, power lines have fallen over. And then on the bottom of your property, you see maybe like a broken fence and some ripples in the ground surface. Well, that's evidence probably of creep or of a slump of the surface. So it's probably not a good idea to keep building there. Now, if we do have to build somewhere, right? Say we have to build a road along a mountain, right? Sometimes that just has to be done. There are ways to mitigate the risk of mass wasting. So we talked about how high water content, a lot of rain can cause a mass wasting event, can cause a landslide. Well, there are ways to allow that water to escape off the mountain without causing the material of the mountain to become lubricated and wet. So one way we do this is by putting in place drainage pipes, right? That will catch the water when it flows underground and move that water away from the mountain so it flows off the mountain quickly. Okay? So if you've ever been driving along the road and you see pipes sticking out of the mountain, right? And you wonder to yourself, what in the world are those? Well, those pipes are there so that water can flow off the mountain and not cause a landslide. I know people who think the water coming out of these pipes is like fresh and clean. It's not. Please don't drink it. Not a good idea. Another way we can mitigate mass wasting risk is by planting vegetation, right? Vegetation is nature's anchor. Those roots that grow underground hold the material in place. They prevent slumps. They prevent mass wasting, right? So planting more trees will prevent more landslides, more slumps along our mountains. We can also terrace, right? And this is where rather than having a single fairly steep angle, we create more like stair steps. This is really, really common when people try to have agricultural fields in the mountains, right? Where they want to plow, but they don't want to have their soil, their vegetation, fall off the side of their hill. They might terrace, right? And that can prevent mass wasting. Finally, we can reduce undercutting, right? We know that if we have to build a road on a mountain, we might have to create a steep slope. Well, we can do that in a way that doesn't undercut, right? We can divert streams to prevent undercutting. We can put riprap, and that's just like material. It could be boulders, it could be trees, it could be anything we can find at the base of a hill so it's not undercutting. And we can also, engineer structures that, just admit that mass wasting events are going to happen, right? We are going to have rock slides. We are going to have landslides, but we can put structures in place to protect what we need to protect. Like we can put a retaining wall between a road and a cliff to trap any of the debris that falls down. Right? We can put fences. You might have been driving along the road and seen fences between the road and the mountain. That's protecting your car, protecting the road from rocks that fall off the mountain. If you've ever been on a mountain where snow was really common, you might have driven through avalanche sheds, right? It's kind of like tunnels that prevent snow from piling up on your car. Or if you've driven through the mountains, you might have seen these bolts that have been driven into the side of a mountain. Those are bolts trying to keep the rocks on the side of a mountain, right? So they won't fall off. So all of these are engineering strategies we can use to work with the natural processes of mountain building and mass wasting.